off of phone technology and the capabilities of these devices, and no matter how much the other companies try and chase them, they are chasing Apple. But then again, there you go, a company that has more money than our federal government and also has a valuation of $1 trillion. $1 trillion for a company, unbelievable. Mobile commerce is expected to reach $119 billion by 2015. They're going to have more people purchasing through their phone, making purchases on these devices than on any desktop devices. So to those of you thinking about investing in a new computer at home, I certainly suggest it's a laptop. I would encourage it even more so to be a tablet, and certainly you'll be making purchases. And I know that seems crazy. I mean, I do my banking on my phone. I buy things off my phone all the time. I mean, these are becoming very, very powerful devices, and in a few years, this thing will be a relic. It will be considered slow. Very, very quick. So, QR codes, it was nice to see a fair number of hands in the room going up, saying, hey, I'm involved, or I have QR codes on my business card, I know what they are. For those of you who are not familiar, I assure you by the end of this presentation, you will be familiar, and you're going to run out and absolutely start putting QR codes on everything. QR code. QR code is a two-dimensional barcode. It is designed really to connect the offline and the online world. You can put them on anything. You can put them on a screen. You can put them on a business card. You can put them on a billboard. You can put them on the carpet. You can even put them on cufflinks. Okay? So you can put a QR code on anything. And what it does is it allows you, through an app on your phone, to quickly scan it, and it launches the web instantly up on your phone. And it basically takes a brochure, a business card, and it makes it all that much more powerful. I can take a printed piece like this, be able to scan that launches me to a web experience that now made my web experience more valuable. It made this piece more valuable. It made everything in my marketing chain more valuable by bridging offline and online. See, as marketers today, you don't need to decide, this is going to be an offline marketing activity, this is going to be online. Just a few years ago, by the way, that was it. You were making that kind of decision. Now, they're all integrated. And certainly, QR codes are doing that. These came out in the early 90s. Originally, they were designed by a company called Denso Wave. It's a division of Toyota. They were originally designed to track auto parts. Good idea, right? Scan them, you track all the auto parts. Somebody got a great idea in Japan that you'd start to put these things on marketing materials and tie them in. They carry a lot more data than your typical UPC code that you see when you scan in the grocery store. They carry a lot more data. And because they can carry more data and they can transfer more information, it really allows for a more engaged experience. If you go to Japan, QR codes are fairly ubiquitous. They are everywhere. They are on subway trains. They're on the sides of buildings. They're on everything. And it's because that's such a mobile environment. Their entire group, those folks get phones that we've never seen before in advance in Japan. They're a very, very mobile society. And so QR codes took off there, took off in Europe. And over the last 18 months, really heavy push in the United States with QR codes. You're seeing them pop up all over the place. And the minute you saw one and you figured out what it was, either somebody told you or you guessed or you tried it out, now you see them everywhere, right? You're like, hey, there it is again and again. So they work pretty easily, straightforward. You can scan the code. It allows you to connect, and then you can view and have an experience. And I'm going to show you some different examples of that. Before I do, though, I'm going to have you watch this couple of minute video on QR codes. So you can see there's really a lot happening with QR codes, and there are a lot of options for your business. This is an example of a Calvin Klein ad that was on the side of a building in New York City. People could scan it, took you to a very unconventionally, expect Calvin Klein, probably people half clothed, right? But it took you to an interesting experience from Calvin Klein. Here's a great example from Dick's Sporting Goods. Anybody here a football fan? Few people, yeah, absolutely. So you go to the next big game, right? And this deal with Dick's comes up on screen. Anybody seen that a lot of the sports teams, a lot of the NFL teams now are doing these throwback jerseys? Every once in a while they'll come out on the field. They've got the old school jerseys on from 70s or whatever particular era. Well, imagine if it's throwback night. They're going to introduce the new throwback jerseys at your favorite team's game. Guys come out on the field, they're introducing the throwback jerseys, pretty cool. And then imagine if that billboard comes up on the jumbo screen for Dick's, and you can scan that code, it takes you to their site, and you can buy the throwback jersey right then and there. Now all of a sudden offline and online are now merged. You can make a purchase right at the time that you are showing a level of interest. You don't have to wait to remember the URL when you get back home, and by that time maybe you've had a few, right? Somebody else drove, of course. But now maybe you're not so compelled with the throwback jersey. It creates a level of immediacy in purchasing that creates a powerful message to customers. And there are a lot of options. Real estate's a great example of this. Being able to put QR codes on real estate signs on a property, so you and your wife's significant other, you're driving down the road. I'm sure this probably happened to a lot of people in this room. You're driving down the road, you see a house that you like, you stop. It's a real estate sign. Of course, you go to grab one of the little flyers out of the box, and the flyers are gone, right? Not the first time you see it. Is that not the most frustrating thing? I don't know who takes all these flyers. Because if you ask the realtor, he's like, well, I sold a property, I just put flyers in the other day. I'm convinced somebody's going and taking them, maybe competitors, who knows. But you go in to go grab it, it's gone. But there's a QR code on the side. You scan the code. Instantly, you're watching a video on YouTube of the house giving you a full tour inside of the property. Now I'm parked out front of the home, my wife and I, and it's Saturday, we're legitimately interested in the home. You call the realtor. Talk about a qualified lead opportunity. I mean, really, really compelling. By the way, you can do these as detachable graphics on the signs, so you can change out the QR codes for your properties. That way you're more effective, less waste. I mean, most realtors today have all their properties listed on their website, right? New properties come on, you take photographs of the house, maybe you do a video tour, goes all online. Putting a campaign together like this, piece of cake. Very, very easy to do. Creates a much more compelling, more engaging activity for the customer. QR codes should be designed to take the conversation further. When I tell you I drive my wife crazy with these QR code things, especially when they start to take off in the US. At PetSmart, we've got 3 dachshunds at home. Anybody here have dachshunds? Great little dogs, right? We got 3 of these little guys zipping around the house. We go over to PetSmart to get food. You ever bought food for your dog at PetSmart or Petco or Pet wherever? You walk into these places and there are multiple aisles of dog food. I don't know which one's better. My wife's like, what one should we get? It's got to be healthy and it's got to be naturally baked or triple baked or whatever. My wife's giving me all these things that we need to look for dog food. Well, I'm going down the aisle and I start seeing mobile tags, a couple QR codes. I saw one from Microsoft. So I'm going down the aisle, I'm scanning everything. My wife's like, "Do you stop scanning this stuff? You're driving me crazy." I said, "It tells you a lot more." So I got her to stop. Well, we watched several videos about the cooking process of the food. It was only a 60-second commercial, but it said, we're committed to dogs' health, and this is what we do, and this is why we do it. This is why we do it better than anybody else. Really made a difference on buying a particular dog food for a dog. The applications of this are endless. I can spend all day talking about QR codes, but we'll move on. Pepsi, Home Depot. This launches you to the new cabinet collection by Martha Stewart. Side note on Martha. It's the only country you can go to prison, come out, and still just be blowing and going. Unbelievable. Right? Here's business cards for you. Obviously, I saw in the barrel over here we have several people putting QR codes on business cards. Makes them more valuable. How about sewn inside clothing? H&M. Ladies, girlfriend sees your blouse, says, "I really love that blouse. Where did you get it?" H&M. Just scan me. Scan me. They're doing it. They're doing it. Absolutely doing it. People in Japan, and probably in the US, because we're crazy enough here, have actually tattooed their bodies with QR codes. Now, I may have cufflinks, but I'm not going that far. Okay? Just saying. So, augmented reality. Anybody heard of this term before? Augmented reality, see one hand going up, augmented reality will take QR codes, it's like QR codes on steroids. Okay? Augmented reality, or what's referred to as AR, is basically the merger between offline and online media in a 3D interactive experience. That's exciting. Basically what it allows you to do is take an offline environment. Let's call it a magazine as an example. And it allows you to turn your camera on your laptop or other device. And when you turn the camera on, it essentially uses a glyph that looks very similar to a QR code, and it will launch a three-dimensional object or a layer on top of a real-world environment. And I'm going to demonstrate this as an example. And the example I'm going to show you is from an issue of Esquire magazine. This is December of 2009 that Esquire launched their augmented reality issue. Magazine, ink on paper.
Ha! Booyah! In your face! And bless your soul, welcome to the augmented reality issue of Esquire magazine. My name is Robert Downey Jr., and I will be your guide through what shall henceforth be titled the Genius issue of said publication. Inside, back there, you will experience a veritable cornucopia of stories on the best and brightest scientists, engineers, digital effects artists, economists, and moguls, big forward thinkers, doing mind-blowing things. Apropos of that, we are presently entwined in an AR environment. Easily the most remarkable way to experience a magazine. Rather than taking questions, and I know you have many, I shall now give you a real-time tour in augmented reality, fire in the hole. None of those words will be of any benefit. We're going to stockpile them for later use. At this point, I would suggest you try tilting or turning the magazine. And it's inconceivable to me, it's unconscionable that a fair-minded individual would utilize the time otherwise afforded for launching a brave, new, and interesting technology to promote their own selfish interests. Let's take a look at a clip from the upcoming Sherlock Holmes, due out Christmas Day 2009.
He is as troubled and as gifted as he ever was.
You do know what you're drinking is meant for eyes, sir.
Okay, I don't know about you. That was cool. And I've done this presentation a few times. AR really changing what's happening out there today. Now, this is cutting edge technology, new things. Some big advertisers out there trying to use it and test it out. I've seen examples of it in the Lego stores nationally, where you can actually take a box of Legos, your child can, put it in front of a screen, and it will show exactly what that Lego piece will look like right on top of the box. They can turn it three-dimensionally, you can spin the box around. Very trick stuff. Here is an actual ad for Mini Cooper from Mini. You take the ad, put it in front of your laptop, launches the car three-dimensionally on the ad. You put your hand right through it. You can look at it. You can select to open the doors, lift up the hood, look at the engine. The specs will come up. Unbelievable technology. This stuff is not like, it's like popular science. This is actually happening right now. AR for mobile. You can actually take out your phone. I've got several apps on my phone that are AR enabled. And you can walk down the street, and depending on the AR implementation done by certain companies, it will show you information, promotions, and offers. I'll give you an example. Anybody familiar with Stella Beer? Heard of Stella? It's kind of a premium beer that's out there. They had an AR app that I found online. You know, I can search for beer apps all day. I heard about it in Marketing Magazine back then. But they basically said, hey, we've got this new AR app, and you can basically launch it if you're in a downtown area, and it will show you every place that is serving Stella Beer. So I'm like, yeah, right, let me see this. So you get the AR app, and I'm walking through downtown San Diego. I was down there for a conference, a speaking engagement. And I'm walking down the Gaslamp district of San Diego, and little screens are popping up over the cityscape showing me what businesses have Stella. Apparently Stella very popular, by the way. Popped up quite a few times. Very interesting applications. Your windshield on your car will look different in the coming years. You'll be in your car, your windshield will actually act as the visual aid. You'll be driving down the road, it will show you where the next gas station is, because if you ever seen a heads-up display on a car, take that about 10 steps further to where your screen, people on the outside won't be able to see it, but you will be able to see information related to emergency exits, services that are off of this exit. Unbelievable technology coming. People in automotive repair using AR, where your technician wears a pair of glasses, shows them what steps to take for the next parts on these cars. Anybody work on their own car? Only one hand. Remember that many years ago, more? I can't work on it. You might open the hood, you're like, no, I don't think so. Forget about it. It's unbelievably challenging to do that today. You ought to see what AR is doing with automotive repair for technicians. Here's my last example of augmented reality. This is a real example. My son plays baseball, loves baseball. Take a baseball card, put it in your hand. You put it in your hand, you put on a pair of augmented reality glasses. Think of these glasses as having a web browser, very similar to what's in your phone, right? Easy technology, it's there and available today. You got Wi-Fi, broadband, fast, you put the card up. It will automatically launch the baseball player three-dimensionally on your hand. The player will talk to you, give statistics, swing the bat, throw the ball. Interesting examples. I've seen children's books where children are wearing a pair of glasses. Hopefully they won't look that goofy in the future. But wearing a pair of glasses, reading a book, a children's book. Let's call it Pooh Bear, right? So Winnie the Pooh, reading it. Next thing you know, Winnie the Pooh and his friends lift up off the page and skip along the pages as your child's reading. Very engaging, unbelievable technology. Why do I show this to you? It shows you where things are headed and moving very, very fast. So what does all of this mean? You know, at the end of the day, what does it mean? It really means that as mediums change, therefore, your message needs to change. If the way you're communicating with your current customers today is the way you've been communicating them forever, maybe it's time to change it. Maybe it's time to change the mediums. Change how you talk to your customers. How do you react? How do you be more personalized and more relevant? So now it's time to embrace that technology and the media evolution. For those of you sitting on the sidelines kind of waiting for the media, the dust to settle and what's going to emerge out, you're missing an opportunity to live and learn a little bit with your business and grow it through some of these media technologies. A lot of these technologies are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. They're going to evolve. They're going to change. Absolutely, you should adapt right along with them. But it's a great opportunity really to engage your business. Start growing your business through integrated marketing. If you're only using one medium, a couple of media types, consider more. You really need to look at a suite of media to make yourself effective. You need to make sure your website's dialed in. By the way, how many people in this room are currently unhappy with their website because it's outdated, it needs to be updated, it needs to be changed? Show of hands. You're in the same boat, I'm in the same boat you are, and I just redid our website recently. Always evolving. You need to update your website. You need to improve your direct marketing campaigns. You need to engage both direct mail and email. You need to think about what's happening with mobile. Consider what's going on with video. Know what's happening in the search space. I know, it's a lot to take in. There are a lot more moving parts out there today. But I assure you, if you take an integrated approach to your marketing, you will be more effective. If you look at it statistically, I'll be up at the DMA, which is the big direct marketing conference in Boston here in a few weeks. I spoke at that event last year. That is an event where you see integrated marketing. The best and the brightest are there doing very creative campaigns, and every one of them are all incorporating multiple media. You don't need to be a big business to do it. You can be a local business using integrated marketing to reach your customers. What questions can I answer for you about anything that I showed you today, or maybe something I didn't bring up that you were to come here and you wanted to hear about?
You indicated that YouTube is now taking over the other major search engines. What's the age demographic of that? Because I find among, I'll call them my peers, we're not really dialed into YouTube.
If you look at the statistics on YouTube, it runs the gambit. You would be amazed at how many people that are on the low end of that demographic scale and on the upper end of that, or the higher end, we'll call it, that run an entire age band. You would think it's only the young people that are in their teens and 20s, they're on YouTube. Yeah, that's true. There's probably a concentration of that, but you'd be surprised how many people, folks that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, engaging YouTube. It essentially is where TV has moved to. Anybody heard of Hulu?
Yep.
Right? Heard of Hulu? You look at all these new technologies like Hulu, Netflix, Netflix, they thought they were big stuff when they were running DVDs. Now those guys can't get out of the DVD business fast enough. DVDs and Blu-rays, by the way, folks, are dead. Okay? They are going away. They are going away. Everything is going video streaming, all on demand. All of your videos that you've been buying and buying up Blu-rays or buying up DVDs, all that stuff will live in the cloud. You'll be able to just hit and access your database of all the movies you've purchased. You won't have to worry about having a cabinet the size of that window over there to house all of your DVDs. But by the way, remember how stoked you were when you got to move to DVDs? Because all of a sudden it's like, get rid of all these VHS tapes, they're so big. Now everything will live on the cloud. A lot of things changing. Great question though. You'd really be surprised how many people use YouTube today. I don't have demo stats to throw at you right now. You do a search on demographics of YouTube users on Google, do that search this afternoon, it will blow you away. Really will. Other questions? Yes?
What about Google Analytics?
Google Analytics. Google bought a company years ago called Urchin. Urchin is what Google Analytics is today. Google Analytics, very, very powerful analytical system that you can attach to just about anything today, particularly to your website, to be able to track users, be able to see unique visitors, pages. You can track where people go to and how far and how deep and what time they spend on your website. Analytical companies that are pay-to-play analytical companies, very afraid of Google Analytics. See, Google has invested a lot of money in a lot of free services. Google Docs is an example. Google does a lot of things that they offer out to the community for free. How many folks are familiar with local business listing? It's that map with the pins in it that appears on Google when you do a search. That is a free service by Google. Now the plus side is it's free and you got to go out and secure your local business listing for your business to make sure your flag appears. Now, by the way, when your flag appears and it's in the wrong intersection, good luck calling anybody at Google. Google doesn't even support it. They offer it up free, but it's not supported. You can't even call anybody to fix anything on it. But they offer a lot of resources. Google Analytics, very powerful analytics solution. I highly encourage you to do it. I moved away basically from pay-to-play analytics in favor of Google because my organization doesn't use clickstream analysis at a deep enough level to move to a pay-to-pay player. Other questions? Yes.
What do you think about Google Plus?
Google Plus. If I were Facebook, I'd be nervous. I am bullish on Google Plus. What is Google Plus for those that are in the room and not familiar with it? Google has made about 5, maybe 6 prior attempts at getting into the social media game. All of those, they faced significant challenges and abandoned their approach in it. They recently launched Google Plus. It's probably about 9 weeks old now. It is still in beta. You have to be invited to be a member of it, which gives it this little air of exclusivity right now. So get a friend of yours to invite you to it. It's basically Google's answer to Facebook. It has grown to 20 million users in about 9 weeks. That's a faster rate, believe it or not, than Facebook. And I thought everybody on the planet was moving to Facebook. So I'm very, very bullish on Google+. It does a couple of unique things that Facebook doesn't do, the way that it gathers people in what they call circles. These are basically groups. So you can have a group of folks that are your friends or family. For those folks, they want to hear about your vacation and they want to see pictures of the grandkids and what's happening. People on the professional side in another circle or group that you might be affiliated with, let's say it's a professional affiliation, may not be so interested in what you did this weekend. Right? I mean, that's a big joke with Twitter, right? It's like, I don't care that you're gone this weekend and having fun with your friends. Not to mention the fact it's a good way to have your house robbed after I notice that you're out of town. So even when I travel on business, you'll know, you won't find me. I have an account on Facebook, I have an account on Twitter. You won't find me on either. I'm a huge believer in LinkedIn. LinkedIn, great platform to work from. But I'm very careful because I travel a lot, speak at a lot of conferences around the country. I don't want people to know that my wife and my son are home alone and I'm out of town across the country at an event. So you've got to think about what you do with social media, but I'm very bullish on Google+. Yes?
What's your opinion on SMS for marketing?
Phenomenal. Do it. Do it. It is a real nice cousin to QR codes. In fact, you take a real estate sign, I wouldn't produce a real estate sign today that only had a QR code on it. You might want to include an SMS message and tie the two together. The only issue with SMS is you have to make sure it's an opt-in audience like email. I'll give you a great example of that. We have one of our PIP owners that is in Peoria, Illinois. One of his clients is Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings was trying to find a way to attract more customers to come in at certain times of the day when they were offering specials and those sorts of things. So on table tents inside Buffalo Wild Wings, they had a place where you could SMS a message and opt in to receive messages from Buffalo Wild Wings on special promotions. Well, now I'm asking you, is it okay that I send you text messages? And you say, yes, it is. It's fine. When it's sending me messages, I'd like to opt into that. Then I can send you messages to an audience that said, I want to hear from you. At any time, the SMS recipient can say, stop messages, and send you a message and stop those correspondence. But I'm very much in favor of SMS messaging as long as it's opt-in. You start spamming me with SMS messages, and now I'm very upset with you. Probably going to turn you in. So, but SMS is really great for opt-in of current customers.
I didn't catch universal search. Is that something new that you click on? Or is that something we're already doing?
It happens organically today. It's something Google did to all of us. Years ago, when you used to look at Google's results, it was 10 websites that you went to, right? The top 10 came up, and you go to page 2, page 3, page 4. Now when you go to Google, you're starting to see video and imagery
it's
choices. It happens dynamically today.
All right.
I mean, it's unbelievable the power that Google has over what we look for and search for today. How many people have been on Google this morning? Enough said. Enough said. It's still early. Okay, I've been on Google multiple times this morning. Has that much power over decision making. If you are not on Google and you're not positioned well on Google, you're missing an opportunity. By the way, if you're not doing paid search, you're leaving opportunity on the table. I run paid search campaigns nationally for huge corporations with big budgets and local businesses with modest budgets. And investing in paid search, or what is called Google AdWords, great way to attract customers in addition to coming up organically for the search engines. Yes?
What's your take on social living and living social and Groupon?
All right, now we're talking about flash sale sites and discount sites. I am bullish on the concept. I think Groupon was brilliant coming out in the marketplace, Living Social, a second runner-up. For those of you who are not familiar with Groupon or Living Social, this basically you opt into the program. They send you notices about different steep discounts from marketers that are trying to get your attention. Now, the challenge is for most of you, how many people in the room are familiar with Groupon? That'll help you gauge the audience. Most of you know Groupon, okay? You'll hear people, you'll read articles, people say, Groupon's really, you know, it's expensive for the advertiser. You got to give away a 50% deal or 70% off, and you're giving away deals. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. How much would you be willing to pay for a new prospect to come to your business and try out your products or services? Are you willing to give away the first round of services to attract new prospects? Tell you what, in my book, in this economy, the answer is yes, and it's all day long. All day long. If you have enough faith in the products and services that you sell to sign up and do a Groupon campaign, I assure you will attract customers. I have a guy that works on my team, Brian Gorman. He heads up search for my organization. He and his wife own a framing store, small framing shop. They do custom picture framing. They did 2 campaigns on Groupon. And in both cases, his Groupon returns have been about 175% return on investment. And a bunch of customers that he never had before are now customers because they came in, they took advantage of the offer. Yeah, he gave away on the first one. They've now come back and placed a second order. Now you have to start looking at the lifetime value of the client. Sometimes it's not about the first acquisition deal. It's not even about the second. It's about over the period of the next year, over the next 24 months, over the next 5 years, what that customer's worth to you. Very, very bullish on Groupon. Now I will tell you, they just pulled back on their IPO. They've got some accounting for. Some people are concerned about them, and others saying that what they offer is not proprietary. So you have a whole bunch of knockoffs coming out. I mean, outside of Living Social, there are literally dozens of regional competitors now, all trying to get into that space. I think the winner of that is the person that's got the biggest list, and right now that's Groupon. They're the 800-pound gorilla right now. But I'm very much in favor of it. Flash selling is a little bit more retail oriented. Gilt Group, for those of you that are familiar with that, or seen that as an example, that's where you can sell things online. Flash sales real fast. The sales go up and come down within days. Great way to reduce inventories and attract new prospects. Other questions? Yes?
When you're doing SEO and you want to try to figure out what people are searching for, we can guess what people are searching for, but is there a way to find out what the biggest search terms are for your industry?
Short answer is yes, and if you're guessing, you're missing an opportunity. Go on to Google today, go look up Google Keyword Tool. When you do, you'll go on ahead and it'll give you a link, it'll be the first result there. Google as a tool, you go in and put in different terms, and not only will it tell you what that term is searched in terms of volume. Keep in mind when you look at that though, when they talk about national, they're talking about a global number. So they'll show you a global and a local number. So when they say global, they mean global, like the whole planet. National, they're talking US, and they'll give you the number on those terms. Then they'll make recommendations on related terms. Great, great tool. You definitely should be doing keyword level research before you buy keywords for Google AdWords if you're going to do paid search, or even if you're optimizing for SEO to determine what page you write. I recommend that if you're writing pages for SEO, that your keyword density be somewhere between 3 and 4%. The copy on the pages somewhere between 300 and 400 words. Make sure you've got title tags, that you have the appropriate metadata, meta descriptions on all the pages. If you have images on those pages, make sure you put in alt descriptions. For that, there are a lot of great resources and books on doing SEO that are out there. And I've worked with a lot of great organizations on search. It happens to be a personal passion of mine. Other questions?
Yeah, sorry for a second one, but you mentioned it before about traveling. What do you think of those check-in, like Foursquare and all that?
Location-based services, Foursquare, GoWalla, Looped. There are several location-based services. I think location-based is going to grow and it's going to get much more sophisticated. For those of you that are familiar with Foursquare, basically when you walk into a business, let's say I'm going to walk into my local Chili's restaurant, I can go on and I can, through that service, I can check in and basically I'm telling Chili's I'm here. It's a cares that you're here, big deal. Well, they have a whole little society on location-based services. And what winds up happening is you can become, it gives you different designations. You can become the mayor because you frequent that Chili's more than your friends. You're like, big deal. So you can become the mayor, who cares? What if Chili's or any other business, your business, said, when people come in and picture my business and they check in with location-based services, if you're the most frequent person that comes in and patrons my business, I'm going to give you a free lunch every week. If you're in the top 10 people that come into my business, I'm going to give you a discount once a month. If you're in the top 100, I'm going to send you an offer at a given time. Location-based services allow you to serve up an offer when someone's nearby. It's 12 noon. I'm driving down the highway right out here. I'm hungry. This phone is on and the location-based services are turned on. And just as I'm blaring down the road, I get an offer right here from Chick-fil-A that says, stop by for a chicken sandwich right now and receive a free combination. If you just order the sandwich, you get the whole combo with it. It knows I'm within 300 yards and it's 12 noon at lunchtime. Talk about relevant offer delivered at a relevant time. Location-based services are only going to grow more rapidly. I'm going to go and wrap up for now, and I'm going to have Keith come up and say a final closing words. I really enjoyed the time this morning. I hope you've seen some things you were probably familiar with, some things that you may not be familiar with, and I think you should strongly consider growing your business. In my last pitch for the guys here at PIP Greensboro, they do a phenomenal job. They can offer just about everything up here with the exception maybe of augmented reality, and I encourage you to start growing your business. Thank you.